Peggy O'Neill here for Chapter 5 in Building Empathy is Your Next Superpower. So tonight we're going to talk about connecting, and we're going to talk about why connecting is important and how we can do it better and more proficiently. So connecting is really the whole thing that empathy is all about. Remember at the beginning I said empathy is understanding another person's feelings, but also letting them know that they're not alone. And in that letting them know they're not alone, that's called connection. So there are many ways that we connect, and if we think back from our childhood of being with our parents and our family and being with our friends throughout our life, being with our spouse or our significant other, being with our children, our parents, all the different ways in life that we feel connected. And if you think about everything that you want in life, after you sort of make a list and you think, well, why would I want that? Why would I want to raise? Why would I want to go on that vacation? Why would I want to have a child? Usually, and most probably, they all boil down to one thing, that we want more connection. This is what people crave, is to feel smirching, to feel two come into one, to feel love. So here's some skills that can help you. I hope it helps you at work and at home. Okay, so the first thing that we can do about the first thing we can do to create more connection and to connect better is, first of all, to appreciate connection and to think about the things I just said, because there's a lot of the benefits about connecting. And another thing that we can do is to intend connection, to intend that we connect with other people in a significant way, that we don't just sort of always experience everything as separate, us being separate, other people being separate, but to allow ourselves to connect with others and experience that sense of connection. Okay, so appreciating connection, intending connection. I mentioned earlier this thing of moving from our head to our heart. And this is something that really can help in all areas of connection, whether it's with nature, whether it's with yourself, with God, whatever. So opening our heart allows us to have that capacity to experience oneness, that capacity to experience connection and sameness. So that we can recognize our commonalities rather than our differences. And even intending or making a mental list or even verbally talking about the commonalities that we have with another person. This can really bring a great connection. I mean, think of when you got together for the first time with your last best friend or with your spouse, and you started talking about your past experiences. And actually when you were like, oh yeah, I went to Paris, I did this, I did that, and they're like, oh, I did that too, and then I went to Venice and I rode on the gondola and I did that, and it just sort of brings this thrill of joy, and it brings this sense of connection because there's some kind of common ground. So we can share with others about our life, and in doing so we can call out the things that we have in common, and this is often just a sort of very natural thing that comes when we're talking with others. So I've talked a little bit about some of things during the course of this video series, and I'm going to mention some of them now. Of course, listening is a way that we can connect with others, really being present and listening to what others have to say, and even recapping what they have to say at the end is a really great way to create connection. Another thing that we can do is letting go of what things in our mind or in our heart or in our being that create separation. Things like difficult emotions, things more specifically like biases, prejudices, sense of wanting to control, have power over, these kinds of things that create hostility, revenge. These kinds of things create separation. Shaming and blaming, we definitely want to leave that one outside. When we're shaming and blaming, all that's going to happen are shields and swords, and that really doesn't create much of a connection. So leaving all that behind somewhere else and focusing in on the things that create connection rather than separation. Our gestures, facial expressions and gestures can create connection. As I tell the kids in like nursery school, when I go to do anti-bullying in the elementary schools, I teach them about waving and saying hi, that this is a way to communicate to somebody that you're open to them, that your heart is open, and that you want to create connection with them. So we can smile, we can wave, we can start a conversation. We can use inquiry, which we talked about earlier, and ask questions. Let genuine curiosity guide our conversation as we ask them to tell us more and more about their life or their experience or something about what they know. Another thing that we can do to create connection is to appreciate others and to use words to appreciate others. So saying that reminds me of that James Taylor song from a long time ago, and it said something like, shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are going to turn out much better if you only will. So, that's pretty wise advice. That song's been around for a long time, and I have experienced so much myself that when I'm able to express my positive emotions to other people, that it really creates definitely more connection. Compliments is another way to create connection, saying something positive about something, acknowledging somebody for one of their superpowers, for one of their strengths, for overcoming a challenge, for just showing up, for breathing, for smiling. You can compliment people for just about anything, and that is sure to help create a connection. So it's important to focus on creating connection, especially in today's day and age where technology and electronics is taking over the place of relating to people one-on-one and in small groups. People have got their phone on, even when people are sitting together, the TV is on, the phone is always on, people are texting in the middle of conversations, and all of this stuff with technology is going on, and it actually really serves to dissolve and break down communications that have been built. So yeah, we need to use the technology, but I would say to really recognize the importance of connecting with others one-on-one, eye-to-eye, sort of speaking to speaking, heart to heart, and really enjoying the experience that's available there, because as I said, that's pretty much why we're all here. So these are some ways that you can evolve and develop your ability to connect. Saying thank you to someone when they share with you about a difficulty, when they give you something. I mean, you can say thank you for anything, but it especially creates a beautiful connection when somebody comes up to communicate to you something that they want empathy around, or they may not know they need empathy, but they need empathy for. And at the end, you say, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I'm sure that was hard to be that vulnerable, and I really appreciate knowing you in this way, connecting with you in this way. And that can really enhance a connection. So just to remember that connection is why we're here, it's what we want, and to put some attention on it and to build that skill and to build connection wherever you go. So thank you so much for tuning in. I've had a great time sharing with you some really great tools around building your muscle in empathy, learning to understand what empathy is and isn't, to listening really, really well and mastering that skill, to inquiring and using curiosity to guide and draw out more information and create more connection with people, to resonating with people emotionally and allowing yourself to be with your own difficult emotions, so that when you're in a situation where people are communicating to you their difficult emotions, you're able to resonate with them more readily, and to enjoy the full spectrum of emotions in this life, which have a lot to do with joy and celebration. Also, we talked about connecting, this last point, and I've just given you some great tips. If you want more information about what I do, you can go to my website, peggyspeaks.com. I'd love to come to your organization and give you some tips about, do some training, working with whatever level, lower level management, people up at the top. Everybody needs to exercise those empathy skills, and when you create a culture of empathy, I'm sure you're going to have so much more richness and joy, productivity, and hopefully and surely your profits will go soaring. So long for now. Thanks for tuning in.